We are a society of notoriously unhappy people, lonely, anxious, depressed, destructive, dependent, people who are glad when we have killed the time we are trying so hard to save. This book is absolutely thought-provoking. Written in 1976, it's unbelievably relevant now, especially in terms of the rise of minimalism. But it has so much more to offer, and I was happy to discover those missing puzzles that have been bothering me lately, and also in terms of the situation that's going on in the world now. And I will talk about it in the end of the video. Hey my friends, if you're new here, I'm Anna and this is my channel about everything that is mindful, minimalist and creative. Today I'm going to present you my first ever book review, and to make the experiment kind of pure, I didn't read any comments or reviews of this book by Erich Fromm to have or to be from anybody else, so it will be only my subjective opinion. And I invite you to form your own opinion and thoughts just to make this knowledge your own. So I'm not a scholar, and I honestly don't like academic language because I think that knowledge should be accessible to everyone, especially it's true for philosophy. In the description section, there will be a couple of links to Erich Fromm's biography and some of his other works, so just in case you're interested to learn a bit more about that philosopher. 46 years ago, Fromm saw how the path of immeasurable production and insatiable consumption makes us never content with our life. We want to have everything for ourselves with little to no sharing. We believe that the more we have, the more we exist. We try so hard to look positive, cheerful, honest and respectable because we want to be loved. We need to have love. The book is based on the opposition of two different modes of living a life. It's the mode of having and the mode of being. And of course, I'm not going to just review the whole book. I will focus on the moments that were the most triggering for me. So let's see how those two modes of living a life, like the mode of having and the mode of being, are manifested in different spheres. In the mode of having, we want to possess the object, to own its material representation, such as picking up a flower to put it in a vase and thus killing it, taking a picture of a beautiful sunset instead of just watching it, and even Googling the name of a building, like an amazing building in front of you, instead of just enjoying its magnificence. While in the mode of being, we just watch, contemplate, and just enjoy the object while letting it be. We are a neighbor, a quiet companion instead of an owner. Gianni Rodari, an Italian children's book author, wrote a fairy tale about a man who wanted to steal Colosseum. He just didn't want to share the Rome's landmark with anybody else, and so day by day he was stealing rocks and bricks, and he would bring them home, and then his whole apartment was stuffed with those bricks, but the Colosseum seemed intact, absolutely intact. And on one of the last days of his life, he finally realized what joy it is to share the beauty with other people instead of just having the crazy desire to own it. Nothing unites people more without restricting their individuality than sharing their admiration and love for a person, sharing an idea, a piece of music, a painting, a symbol, sharing in a ritual, and sharing sorrow. The mind in the mode of having is afraid of any new ideas because they question the massive of information that has already been consumed. The thoughts that can't fit in the generally acknowledged categories cause fear, and such people living in the mode of having are desperately afraid of everything that is changing, that is transforming, and thus getting out of control. The mind in the mode of being absorbs, processes in a creative way each piece of information that it is exposed to. Instead of acquiring the ready-made knowledge, the mind in the mode of being transforms it and changes it, and thus giving birth to those new amazing perspectives. And thus knowledge is no longer stiff and a fixed substance, but it's very living and flowing one. Our education generally tries to train people to have knowledge as a possession, by and large commensurate with the amount of property or social prestige they are likely to have in later life. In the mode of being, our memories are alive. They are so vivid that can be felt here and now, and they can change our current state of mind because they are felt to the deepest core and cause all those emotions that are attached to them. While in the mode of being, our memories are just distant, pale objects, like old photographs that we own but no longer feel anything about that. They're just facts of time and facts of the moments in our life. And also the same thing is about the way how we remember things now, how we write down or type down or bookmark information in order to remember it. Once written down, the information is owned by us. We no longer have a living memory, but just a caravan of bookmarks. And now try to be honest and think of how many bookmarks did you revisit lately. So I made an experiment for myself, and it turned out that I revisited and reopened only about 15% of bookmarks that I made a year before. In the mode of having, we are afraid to give up our opinion, thinking that it's our great treasure. We do everything to protect our own viewpoint without even trying to listen to the opponent. We believe that if our ideas are crushed, then we will be nothing but meaningless shatters as well. While in the mode of being, we are spontaneous, we are open to every new idea and opinion, and we are excited to digest it and to process it, turn it into something new. The conversation is no longer a body of monologues, but a dialogue where no one has to be right or wrong, because there is no such category whatsoever. Instead of a battle, the conversation turns into a dance. And all this happens only when the mind is in the mode of being. Reading is pretty much the same as the conversation, because it's anyway like it's sort of a dialogue between the author and the reader. And in the mode of being, the reader thoroughly explores the world of the book and discover an amazing array of ideas and insights, and even those ones that the author didn't mean or imply. While in the mode of having, the reader just wants to know the plot to consume the thrill and excitement and a sense of accomplishment that comes with reading a prestigious book. Instead of exploration, we conquer the book, and without even discovering the subtlest shade of its palette. The other day I was just hanging out on YouTube looking through recommendations, and I saw one video which title blew my mind, especially in the context of this book review, and it sounded like I'm back to reading 5 books a month. And then there was a happy face with a heap of books. And of course, I'm not here to preach, because maybe there are people who are very fast readers and very profound readers. Well, honestly, I'm not like that at all. In that video, nowhere the author said anything about how those books changed them. It was just about the quantity. But the reading is not a marathon. It's not a hot dog eating challenge. It's a journey, it's an adventure. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm not right here. Just please let me know in the comments what's your opinion about this topic. According to Fromm, in the mode of having, faith becomes a ready-made solution, a ticket that a person gets in order to become part of some bigger community, in order to simplify or even completely eliminate the process of taking their own decisions or forming an opinion. And also, just to make it clear that by faith, Fromm meant and means in this book not only religious faith, but faith in people, in ideology even, or like some basic and very important human values. In the mode of having, faith provides you with the stability and comfort of knowing that someone else, someone bigger than you has come up with the truth, and now the only thing that you have to do in order to be happy ever after is to accept this truth without the slightest doubt and without any desire to question it and coming up with new insights. In the mode of being, faith is not only about believing in certain ideas, but it's about commitment and personal moral principles and ideas. In the mode of being, faith is never based on authority. It's never guided by archaic and hierarchic principles, but it's led by an inner compass, one's own experience and knowledge. Loving in the mode of having and in the mode of being is completely different, and you probably already know the difference. And so I invite you to share your opinion in the comment section. So let's make it like a tiny discussion club here. Fromm makes a perfect point that hasn't changed since the time when the book was written, and it's that social norms form the character of a person who belongs to that society. And in Fromm's and today's society, like the social norm is based on the ability to acquire as many things, possessions, property as one can, and on the ability not only to keep all those assets but also to grow them. And that's why the rich people are the object of our admiration and envy now. And also take the abundance mindset as an example. So it's a very controversial thing for me, well, like personally. But also now, more than ever, another form of having is back on stage, and it's our own self. Our body, our intellect, our knowledge, our habits, our look, our social status, our own perception of ourselves. And we are so desperately afraid of losing it that it's just insane. We think that our ego is a thing that we possess and that without it we are nothing. And that's where all our inability to cope with the loss and rejection comes from. We prefer to believe in the illusion that there is a constant and never changing substance of ourselves, but yeah, it's nothing but an illusion. But maybe it's true, but it's true in some upper realms, but not here, and nobody and nothing has ever proven otherwise. Fromm also touches upon a very important point about death and immortality. The desire to have is based on our biological instinct to live and to survive. Our body makes us strive for immortality, but as our experience suggests otherwise, we constantly look for anything, like any solution that could support that illusion of immortality. And interestingly, now with the rise of social media, we have even more ways to get that guaranteed social immortality. The philosopher says that from the time of ancient Egypt, with its mummy pharaohs, the humanity has not given up the idea to become immortal in any form. We want to have something after, even after we are gone. Isn't that crazy? And why is it happening? Why do we believe that the purpose of our life is just to stay, to be remembered, to become a monument? It's not about transcending our own imperfections or becoming a borderless mind. So yeah, it's some very serious food for thought. Well, at least for me, maybe for you as well. There is only one way taught by the Buddha, by Jesus, by the Stoics, by Master Eckhart, to truly overcome the fear of dying. And that way is by not hanging on to life, not experiencing life as a possession. The fear of dying is not truly what it seems to be, the fear of stopping living. Death does not concern us. Epicurus said, "Since while we are, death is not yet here, but when death is here, we are no more." But what does it mean to live in the mode of being? What does it mean to be versus to have? According to Fromm, to be means to have inner freedom, independence, and critical thinking, and creativity as well. It's all about giving and not just getting. And Fromm gives all of us hope, that saying that it's in the nature of every human to be able to shift from the mode of having to the mode of being, and to break free from that prison of loneliness and egotism, and to see the real picture of life instead of an illusionary and biased one. But as soon as the mode of having is encouraged throughout the whole world, the situation will never change. There will be fear, there will be greediness, there will be competitiveness. And does anyone here feels exhausted from competition? I do, and competition is so, and competitiveness is so much encouraged in today's society. And I personally have a good deal of competitive nature in me. I used to enjoy its excitement, just to be the best student, to win awards, even to win backyard basketball tournaments, although I'm pretty clumsy for that. And I was even competitive in my previous relationships, but then my mindset changed. Life has shown how depleting competitiveness is. It's always based on the idea that you can have and you deserve to have more than any other person, and that you have to fight for that. But then I asked myself, why? What gives me the right to think so? And I could never find the answer. The ideology of consumption is based on the desire to swallow the whole world, and consumption is very contradictory in its core. On the one hand, it weakens our anxiety, because what has become ours supposedly cannot be taken away from us. But on the other hand, the more we consume, the more we want to consume. And it's like eating a lot of refined sugary sweets. They become less and less sweet, and we completely lose the taste. Pleasure and thrill are conducive to sadness after the so-called peak has been reached, for the thrill has been experienced, but the vessel has not grown. I invite you to observe yourself in which mode you are living mostly. And I catch myself living in the mode of having from time to time. And the most important thing that I realized is there's nothing good in being hard on yourself, in punishing yourself for having the desire to have, because we inevitably are partially a product of our society, and sometimes many times, it's so hard to break away from it, from its social protocols whatsoever. But the more conscious, the more mindful we become, the easier it gets. And it's beautiful and wonderful how we can gain back the control of our minds and hearts and bodies. The need for speed and newness, which can only be satisfied by consumerism, reflects restlessness, the inner flight from oneself. Of course, it is impossible to squeeze in everything from the book in this review, and I've left a lot of amazing insights behind the scene. For example, Fromm makes amazing references to political, religious, and ideological things that I find absolutely fascinating. And he also makes a perfect point that I forgot to mention before, that of course in our today's society it is impossible not to own or possess anything. But he says that there is a healthy amount that you need to have in order to live, and everything in excess is just not beneficial for you at all. And of course, here I cannot avoid saying something about minimalism and the way that it is presented right now. It shifted from mode of being to the mode of having or not having. Whatever, like it's such a contradictory topic to discuss, but I often have a feeling that minimalism has become pretty dogmatic. And there are a lot of avid minimalists that claim that they know what minimalism is and what minimalism isn't. And there is even that dogmatic idea what minimalism should be, even from the visual standpoint. I don't know. Anyway, like it's yet another food for thought and a topic to discuss. And as for the context, the situation that is going on in the world and the tension that I take very close to my heart, that's what I have to say. As long as our world and its leaders stay in the mode of having, of owning more, of conquering more, of meaning more, of becoming the icons of our epoch, nothing will change. We will suffer from their greediness, we will fear, we will be manipulated, we will become and remain selfless instruments of their will, and I'm so horrified of this perspective. I think we could make a whole discussion of this book and how its meaning can be interpreted in the nowadays situation, but I have to end this endless video. And thank you so much, my friends, for watching my monologue till the end. So you be safe, be mindful, be who you truly are, and I will see you soon. Пока-пока.